Hey friends, I'm back with another video. This time I'm going to try to do a video that's sort of streamlined and fairly quick and short about the advanced loot system, because I do have a habit of running off into tangents and stories and this and that. So I'm going to try to just talk about the advanced loot system. What better way to do it than with a couple of new characters that don't have a whole lot of filters set up. I'll try to killing some gnolls and see what happens with the loot and show you how I set it up. Now again, this is how I do things. Other people might do it differently. There's no correct way really to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, what might work for me might not work for you. Okay? So we're going to do an example. I've got two characters here and two mercenaries so I don't die, to see how I would do this in a group. All right? And that's what I'm going to focus on, is with group stuff. So first we want to set up our filters. You see, I got a couple of them set here, but let me go through it. So here is a raw fine hide. I want this. This is trade skill stuff. I do a lot with trade skills. So greed, I'll put greed. Now if you're on a TLP server, a lot of TLP server people just always go with need. I need the item. Because why? Well, on a TLP, nobody has anything. So their opinion is everybody needs everything. But I'm on Veronavi, I'm on my home turf, and if I group with someone else and they feel they need it more than I want it, then I'll let them have it. I don't care, you know, unless it's something I absolutely need, and I'll talk to them about it first, which, you know, feel free, you can do it, because the master looter has the ability to give it to someone else. So say this hide, let's say Kasumi is another player instead of just me two-boxing, and they said, hey, I could really use that hide for a spell that I'm working on or something. Well, I can right click and then I could put Kasumi, so it disappeared. So what happens now is we go to Kasumi and, well, it looks like she already looted it. Yeah, you have looted a raw fine hide because she already set it to where she had greed or need. So you can do that. You could just decide where something goes. You could set it to yourself or to them by right-clicking in the window. And also, you could right-click and you could hit leave. Leave it on the corpse. No one gets it. No one wants it. You can also go to this window here and you could put it, let's say you're just two-boxing, right? Like I am. So if I want to, I could just set all to Leia, right? And I click on set all and it goes to me, right? And so let's go kill something else. Okay, after killing another creature, again, I'm not needing these hammers and stuff right now, so I'm gonna hit leave on corpse. I have simple plate. Now neither I or Kasumi here need plate, so we could just hit AG, always greed. You know, let's say the other person has always greed, and they do, right? So then what we could do is we could set roll and just hit to roll on stuff. Now here's something that I'm not 100% sure of, okay? So feel free to ask other people. If you want to make sure that everybody's rolling on something, you can click on here. And this activates where it's gonna, everybody's gonna roll on it. Same thing with this. This is an augment, right? And so I could choose always greed. I already have this. So if this happens where you try to hit always greed, it's a lore item. I already have it, so it's not going to let me do always greed. And we could do it the same with the blood. I think null blood, you could sell it to a merchant for a couple of gold or whatever. So if ever you try to hit always greed and it keeps doing this, it says you cannot choose need or greed because you already have one. See, it says it here in the chat box down here. And again, you can hit set all to roll. I don't really know what that does. some of these things, I'm not sure what they do, right? Set all to need, set all to greed. I'm not sure what that does. Does that mean it's going to set everybody to need or everybody to greed? Again, I would love it if someone wants to chime in the comments to tell me about some of this stuff, because I myself don't know everything. Now, after everybody's rolled and it looks like nobody needs it, I'll even double check. Okay, it looked like she was able to loot it. Kasumi was. So there's that. Let's go kill something else. There's 2 over here, so we'll take them out. So a lot of this stuff should be fairly simple to get, but it took me a while. And there's, as you see by me not knowing some stuff and telling people to chime in the comments, there's a lot of stuff I still don't fully understand. And I think it's just, yes, it's confusing. It's like you need a master class on looting, as long as you get some of the basics, you know? And again, here we go. We have some of these set, and here, this one wasn't set at all. So, simple defiant leather boots. I could put greed, right? But I know that Kasumi wears leather. So if I wanted to, I could ask them in chat, hey, do you want this? And if I want to, I could just right click and say, give to Kasumi, right? And now they have it. They're already wearing rough though, so they actually don't need it. But hey, they have it now. They could sell it or whatever if they want to. Again, if you want to make sure that things are rolled for, you click on the dice roll button here. See, that way everybody's just gonna automatically roll for it, and you see here it'll say down what people roll. Like, so Leia rolled a 77, Kasumi rolled 963, so they won the null blood. Ooh, uber loot. But again, this is just to show you as an example. Another thing you could do, say you had chose a filter earlier and you want to edit the filter. Let's say you were a newbie and at first you were on a progression server and you wanted some of the rusties so you could work on your blacksmithing. But now rusties are just a burden. So you want to type in like rusty here, right? And if there were rusty items that were set in your filters, they would come up here and you could change them. So hide, here we go. At least I could work with this for an example. This shows you some of the hides where I have the filter set already. And if I want to, I can either remove the filter altogether, so that way when it shows up again, I can just set it when it shows up again, or I can edit here. So I could change it from always greed, which is what I have here, to always need, or I could change it to never loot this item, where it just always automatically leaves it on the corpse. I can also hit the thing for the dice roll for all of these where it automatically rolls. So that's how you do edit filters. That's that button right there, okay? And that's, like I said, if you already chose the filter here and you want to edit later, you can. Another thing is, let's say you've got these items where nobody really wants it, you could just hit leave all and those items are left on the corpse. Another option here is loot settings. Now you click on loot settings, you'll see this window come up, auto split coin. That's always a good idea, unless maybe if you have someone in the group like a monk that asks you not to split the coin. But I doubt that's going to happen anymore, because on live Everquest they removed any weight from coin. So a monk would probably like it to get some coin too. It used to be that coin weighed something, so monks would sometimes say, hey, don't send me any copper or silver or gold or even plat for that matter, because it had a weight to it. Because monks were always worried about their weight, because it would impact their bonus on their armor class. So something I like to do is I like to click this off, show on new items only. Now you might choose to have this on, but I like it when the advanced loot window comes up, because then I can always double check stuff and I can make sure that everything is set to where you roll for it and stuff like that. There's also option auto loot all. Now this is fine if, especially if you're like soloing, you can do that where you automatically loot everything and you don't have to worry about this coming up, and you could just sort it out after the fact when you're in POK and selling off your junk and all that. Master loot candidate, I don't really know what that is. It says it toggles whether or not group raid will attempt to use you as a master looter. Okay, so if you want to be thought of as a master looter, like where you do all these decisions and you're not the group leader, this lets the leader pick you as a master looter. I guess if you have this turned off, then even if the leader of the group tries to make you master looter, they can't. And so, because some folks might not want that responsibility. Auto remove looted lore items. Ooh, that could actually be kind of useful. Although I don't know what that would happen for the group, for example. I'm actually going to leave that on. Confirm remove item filter. I don't know what that really means. It says toggle whether you want confirm removal of an item loot filter. I mean, I guess that's self-explanatory, but the words don't really click in my head to where I can completely understand what the hell that means. And again, auto split coin. So that is loot settings. All right. Again, this is the filters. Filters lets you edit the settings that you did previously, where you could change it from always greed, always need, or never loot, or you can just remove the filter on an item. And that way, if you get the item again, you can decide again later if you want to always greed, always need, or never loot that item. And here we have some silk that dropped that I'd never looted before, so I don't have the filter. And again, one last time, you can choose if you want to do always greed, always need. Greed and need are almost the same thing. It means you want the item, but need is just, it takes priority. So if everybody in your group has need and you have greed, then someone that chose always need is going to get that item over you. It's not even going to count whatever you roll for that item. Always need takes priority over always greed. So need priority over greed. It's easier to remember it that way. So if you're on a server, usually a progression server, where everybody is choosing need over greed, then it's better for you to just choose need also. That way you have a chance to roll for the item and you don't lose out every time. On a server like Veronavi, where I usually play alone anyway, or 2-box, or a lot of people just use greed, I usually just go for always greed. Because if I do group with someone else, they have always need up instead and they get the item, I'm not going to feel put out by it. I'm not going to feel upset. Obviously they wanted it more than I did, so I'm cool with that. Again, if you don't want an item, you can either right click on the item and hit leave on corpse, or you can click on this wheel and you can hit leave on corpse. I don't know what the difference is. One might be easier to click than the other. And if you're soloing, you're playing alone, and but you're 2-boxing, you're playing 2 characters. Let's say you want everything to just go to one character to make selling easier later. Well, you can click on this box, you can choose a character, and then have everything go to that character. Wow, someone pulled a train. One last time, if you want to select something to go to just one specific character, you can choose it in this window. You select them, and you hit set all to go to them. You click it and it goes to that character. And that's something that I might do if I am, just multi-boxing and I want to just make it easier to sell stuff. I can do that, have it all go to one guy, and I don't need to worry about, say one of the characters is a monk and they don't have a lot of weight reduction bags. Well, there you go, or one of them is a caster, they don't have a whole lot of strength to carry a lot of stuff. Again, that can be helpful. But I wouldn't do that if you're grouped with somebody. Then you want everybody to get a chance to roll for the item. Don't do what I usually do a lot, where I set everything just for myself and I forget that I'm in a group because I think I'm just multi-boxing, and I can get some salty group members that I'm like, that is to say, hey, we want some loot too. I don't do that often, but I think I might have done it on accident once or twice. Again, because I was just used to playing solo and multi-boxing. Another thing that I often do by mistake is I forget that my monk doesn't have a mount, and I run up ahead, leaving my monk behind because all they got is Spirit of the Wolf, and it's just not fast enough. So here we go one last time. We got, I'll just hit Always Greed, the monk. They'll choose Always Greed. Also, you know, that could be another character. And then if I want to make sure we roll for it, here's what it looks like from the monk's perspective. See, they see that we're going to roll for it soon. And since both of them are Always Greed, it's going to go to whoever rolls the highest. However, let's do a quick example. Let's say the monk of the group chose Need over Greed. So we're going to let the timer on this roll run out, and you'll see what's going to happen. I don't know what this does. Let's click it and find out. Okay, so it looks like hitting this little red button pauses the timer on when it's going to roll. So let's say the group wants to discuss an item and, you know, who deserves it or whatever more instead of having it be rolled for. You can hit this little stop sign and it will pause the timer, and then you can click on that to restart the timer, and when the timer runs out, everybody just automatically rolls. It's all automated. Whoever gets the highest roll wins. The roll is automatically generated as well. I think it's between 1 and 1,000, and we're seeing timer's almost up, and it's gonna go to Kasumi the monk because I chose Greed, they chose Need, and it says Kasumi rolled a 116. And you see, it doesn't show my roll because why? Because I had Always Greed, but they had Always Need. So Always Need gets to roll, and Always Greed does not. I prefer the advanced loot system over the old way because you know what? At least with this, if I'm fighting hill giants or just anything, and they either fall off the edge of the world, they die underneath a rock or way up in a tree, and I can't reach them, so I can't right click on the dang thing to loot it, and maybe what it had was something of value, right? Maybe it ran somewhere and I don't know where it went to and I can't get to it, but now when it dies, say it was dotted, but it managed to run away, but it still dies from all the dots, well, you still get the loot window. As long as it didn't run away like halfway across the zone, you still have access to that loot window, and you can loot all the stuff that was on it. So is that better? Yes, 100% better. You know, the only time that you can't loot something is like, say you're running across the whole zone and you get aggro, your mercenary goes and kills it even though you're not fighting it and you're like half a mile away from the thing, so it's all in red. You're gonna have to run back to the corpse to click on it to unlock some of the items. But chances are, if you didn't want to stop and fight it, it didn't have anything of great value anyway. So either you run back and you know, click on the corpse to unlock it, to loot it, or you just let it go, which I always let that stuff go, man. So I hope this little tutorial helps you. I tried to keep it short, but there's just so much to cover, and I like doing sometimes things a couple of times just so it helps sink in. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't find it helpful at all and you're just left with more questions, you can give it a thumbs down, and you can leave some feedback saying where I went wrong, where I lost you. And you can also leave comments about things that I might have missed, things that you would do differently. things that I might have had questions for myself, that I don't fully understand every aspect of this system, but I feel like I know enough to get by, right? And that's all that matters. I try to give information that's enough to get by. If you like what I do here and you want to support the channel, considering subscribing if you haven't already. Subscribing is completely free. You can always unsubscribe later if you have to, if I get annoying in some way. If you want to go the extra mile to support me more than just subscribing, you could become a channel member by clicking the join button below this video, or you can subscribe to my Patreon. Links to the Patreon are also in the description below this video. There's also an X account, formerly known as Twitter, that you can follow to have updates for when I release new videos and content. And if you're a YouTube channel member or a Patreon member, you have access to our super secret Discord server where we hang out, we chat, we talk about, grouping up in game, which we do often, and go and kill stuff and try to help each other complete quests that might be a little more difficult than just a single group can handle or something. So all that stuff, if you want to support me, that's how to do it. Thanks for watching. Have a great day and a wonderful tomorrow.